Okay, example 9 is only 2 examples, so it really shouldn't be that difficult, and then 2 practices. Again, I'm not going to use the diagrams. If you see the circles and you're like, oh, but I love the diagrams, I'm accustomed to the diagrams. Well, then, there's your book. You can look at the diagrams and see how they do it because they teach it in a really good way, but not the way that I like. Okay, look what it says in 9.1. The wood nymphs and the maids gambled and frolicked before the banquet came. If 70% of those were present, by the way, when I see 70%, you guys, I don't make a diagram. What I do is I go 70%, 30%, total. Okay, I don't do this if it goes over 100%, like because it's not partial of a whole number, but I always do that when it is partial, when it's 70% of something, 3/4 of something, 30% of something, it doesn't matter. Because I always know that they might be asking me for the 70% or they might be asking me for the 30%. We're not really sure what information, so I just write down everything I know. If it's 70%, the rest is 30% because that equals 100%, and then you have your total, okay? I always start there, I always write that down. Then look what it says. If 70% of those present were wood nymphs, okay? So 70% of them were wood nymphs. I'm gonna put that there, wood nymphs, that's the 70%. And 120 maids were present. Are those wood nymphs? No, so they must be the 30%. That's why I wrote that down. How many wood nymphs came to the banquet? Ooh, so what are they asking for? Are they asking for the 70% or are they asking for the total? They're asking for the 70%. Because they're asking for the wood nymphs, which is the 70%, okay? Well, guys, we don't know what the 70% is because we don't know what the total is yet, do we? So we know what we're fault the first. We're fault to the total to get the 70%, okay? So let's do that first. We have to go 30%, which is 0.3, of a total is what? 120%. Okay, so we divide by 0.3, we divide by 0.3, use your calculator if you need to. That x, the total is going to be 400. Okay, now that we know that the 400, sorry, I know I said x. Oh, I shouldn't have used x, I should have used t for total so it wouldn't confuse you so much. Okay, there you go. 0.3 of t, okay, equals 120. So now you know that the total is 400. Now how are you going to use that? Well, that's 70% of 400 is going to give you your wood nymphs. So 70%, 0.7, times 400, because that's of 400, equals your wood nymphs, which should be 280. Okay? You can make sure that you, just know that it's logical, not that you have to check it to do it 2 times or anything like that, but just make sure it's logical. 280 plus 120 is going to give you 400, so you know it is logical. Okay, let's look at example 2. Okay, here we go. Let's look at 9.2. The harvest was cornucopian. That means abundante. As it was 120% greater than last year. Like I said, abundante. If the yield was 140,800 bushels, how many bushels were harvested last year? Okay, I don't do any diagrams when it's over 100%. I just write the equation. So here we go. The harvest was 120% greater. We don't know greater than what yet. Okay, we just know that's 120% greater. Guys, when it's 120% greater, are we really working with 120%? No, we're working with 220% because it's an increase from last year, right? It's an increase. If it's an increase, it means you have to add the 100% more. Call me if you don't understand that, if that wasn't taught to you in other classes or whatever, but I know that it was. But if you don't remember, it's totally fine. So you have 220%. That's what you're really working with. If the yield was 140,800, okay, so 220% of something equals 140,800. That's what it's saying right there. How many bushels were harvested last year? So that's going to be your x. Okay, so let's go. Let's make this into a decimal. 2.2x equals 140,800. Divide by 2.2. And your answer is going to come out to be x equals 64,000. Okay? And there is your answer. Let's do our practice and then you come back and check it with me. Okay, the answer to your practice, you guys, is 9A is 500, 9B is 70,000. And this is how you get the answers. 60% of those present, so 0.6, 60%, at the performance were neophytes. So, let's just do this. 60% were neophytes, so that means there's 40% of something else and a total, right? Okay. If 200 were present, were not neophytes, okay, so that's going to be 200 were not. That's the 40%. How many people attended the performance? So now they're not asking how many neophytes, they're asking for your total. Ooh, that makes it easy now that we put our information where it was supposed to go, right? Because, look, it's going to be 40% of x equals 200, and that's going to give you your x. So we're going to go 0.4 of x equals 200. You divide by 0.4, divide by 0.4, x equals, it should equal, what did we say, 500. Okay? And that's logical because 40% of 500 would be around 200. Let's look at B. Production increased by 145%. Okay, it's more than 100%, so I'm not going to do any diagram or table, but it's increasing by 145%, so we know it's going to be 245% increase. If the number of widgets produced this year was 171,500, so it's 245% of x equals 141,500, right? That's the number, 171,500. Okay, then what was produced last year? So then you just solve for x. So that's going to be 0.245x, right? So it's going to be 2.45 divided by 0.2, let's do this right, breathe. Okay, 2.45x equals 171,500 divided by 2.45 divided by 2.45. So x equals 70,000. Okay, let me know if you need any help with that. It's lesson 8 and lesson 9. Make sure you do the lesson of 9, but show me your practices for 8 and 9. Thanks, guys. See you on the next one.